Drew McIntyre's photo with Jack Perry set the internet ablaze. Isn't that, well, that's what we used to say. What they say now? What's the cool lingo?
On fire.
No, that's not. No, that was like 20 years ago too.
Dang.
What the young kids say? Somebody tell me what the young kids say now when something is hot, fire,
fresh.
Nah, that's like 80s. You going backwards.
Oh.
Next, you about to say groovy. That's 70s.
Oh, I don't say groovy.
You can be saying hip. I don't know if that's 60s or not, but whatever. Point is, Drew McIntyre had that joint on fire this past weekend when he took a picture with Jack Perry and posted it, and I think the caption was "Cry Me a River." He has since taken that picture down.
Oh, he did?
Yes, took it down. My question to you guys, though, is has there ever been a wrestling feud that has utilized social media better than CM Punk and Drew McIntyre?
Ooh. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I mean, just because usually it would just be one or the other that was super social media. I still don't feel like Punk is super social media in this whole thing. I just feel like it's all heavy on the Drew side. Has Punk done stuff online?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not privileged to that, what he's done. So to me, it's usually pretty one-sided. I know Nyla used to go crazy on the internet when she was on TV on Dynamite. But that's about it. Maybe Mia Yim. But again, it's not against an opponent. It's just against whomever that they're fighting. Yeah. So no, this is probably it for me.
I bet Tony told him to take that shit down. He called. I said, take that shit down, man.
They said everything has been approved through each other and they are working together. I don't think they are best of friends, of course. I don't think they talk on the phone, but I don't think he puts that tweet up. Of course, if he didn't get prior approval through Punk or through WWE, he's too much of a company man to do something like that. But it had us talking. I thought it was fantastic. I was trying to think if there was anybody. I can't really think of anybody.
Nah, man. Tony told him to take that shit down, and he sent my man Briscoe out to go into business for him.
Briscoe,
steel cage match. Briscoe.
Oh shit! Oh, that's right. Oh, we get to talk about it today. That was, both of y'all. Y'all hadn't seen it. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that today. I got some. I want to hear what y'all thoughts are of. It was a good show, but I got some thoughts that I would like to hear from you guys. But bravo to Drew McIntyre. My man has been a hater for a long time. I don't think that's going to get topped. I don't think there's anything CM Punk can do to top that tweet and that photo with Jack Perry. And we only got a week until they touch, less than a week until SummerSlam. So welcome to the TFW podcast. That's Freakin Wrestling. You guys know by now, if you are new here, welcome. If you are one of our old school freaks, you guys know how we give it up. We are Three the Hard Way. I am Matt. That there's Eshaun. That there's also Rhodesia. This is episode 154 of the Best Kept Secret in Wrestling podcast today. We just talked about a little bit of SummerSlam. Is next Saturday, or this Saturday, not
this
Sunday,
Saturday,
or it'll be Monday by the time you guys listen to this. Anything from SmackDown you guys want to talk about for the lead up of SummerSlam before I get to my question that I have around just SummerSlam as a show?
I didn't see SmackDown. It's the Olympics, so I'm super hype on the Olympics right now.
Really good show. I don't think it was very noteworthy, to be honest with you, but another good show.
Yeah, typically when they're taped, we know how that can go. Tape shows now are much better, though, in the WWE-centric environment than what they used to be. Tape shows used to be throwaways. They're not throwaways anymore, but you don't get as much of newsworthy pieces when it is taped. I saw some conversation online like, hey, you can skip this SmackDown. I guess maybe the spoilers were out there. I didn't see any of them. But, yeah, solid show for sure. Doing what they need to do to get to SummerSlam. I'm excited for it. I was talking to Bush. He had sent me a text a few days ago, and he was like, man, is it just me, or does this SummerSlam card not do it for you? And then he said, and I'm worried, they're talking about going to 2 nights in a couple years. Can they continue like down their positive trajectory? And I was like, yeah, man, I kind of, I broke it down really quick. We'll do our preview show, of course, on Thursday. But I kind of broke that down as like, think about everybody who's not on the show that are stars for WWE. He's all right, man. Got it. Okay, got it. So I don't think they're going to have a problem at all when they go to 2 nights. But question I had for you guys, we know SummerSlam typically is the second biggest show of the year. I guess you can argue Royal Rumble could be also outside of, WrestleMania. What are some of your personal favorite memories from SummerSlam? It could be matches, it could be promos, it could be whatever. But when you kind of think of SummerSlam, what are some of the moments that has happened on that show where you're like, yep, I remember where I was, I remember what I was doing, whatever the case may be?
How many do I get?
Oh, you get as many as you want.
Yes. Okay, because I've been thinking about this. So SummerSlam, I had to go off of kind of the ones that I was there for. Thank God I've been to a few SummerSlams. And then the ones that has been like a lasting memory. Now, some of these I'm about to say, I didn't realize it was at SummerSlam, but I remember these moments in time. And then I'm like, oh my God, that was SummerSlam. So I feel like I should still mention them too, because I don't have a brain or a memory of an elephant like you do when it comes to wrestling. So I'm just going to go down my list in no particular order. I'm going to go backwards. When Ray won the ladder match against Eddie to win his son back. So Dominic Mysterio, little blonde head Dominic Mysterio.
All right, so I got to ask you though. I got to ask you and be completely honest. Did you watch that live?
I watched that live. We were together.
I don't remember that.
Yep.
Of course, I remember the promo shots. Yep. I remember everything leading up to it.
Because Vicky,
I don't remember.
I think Vicky's Eddie's wife. Vicky grabbed Eddie from trying to go up the ladder, and I think up until that point, like this was like Vicky turning on him at that point. Like that ain't our kid.
I mean, if you watched it, of course, I must have watched it. But yeah, like when I think about, I don't really remember that match. I remember the ending of it. Like, I remember the ending. Maybe that's from like the promo segments and such. But okay.
But that was an emotional thing. So like, this is the kid. This is your kid. Like, no. And then now you're trying to say, no, he's the daddy. So it was just more of an emotional thing. Again, we talk about wrestling all the time. It's the stories that have us remember it and make us, pay attention to it. I have a lot more, so I'm just going to run them down. Brock beating Rock, 2002 SummerSlam. At that time, he became the youngest champion. I remember that. Finn beating Seth for the inaugural Universal Championship.
So these are some of your best SummerSlam memories.
Mm-hmm.
You were pissed off when Brock beat Rock.
I know that, but these are still memories.
SummerSlam,
but it is.
Memories,
no.
Because
there's actually 2 more on here that I'm literally pissed and livid about.
Yeah, then it should.
But no, but it's still the best. Just like how.
Best. Hey, E, we were living in Detroit. Because we both were pissed off. Fonz was with us actually. We watched that show, and Fonz is an instigator. He was hyped. Brock just beat Rock with one F5, and my whole thing was like, I don't have a problem with you putting over this new guy. Okay, yeah. But damn, one F5? You Rock at least eat 2 or 3. I was so thoroughly irritated. Actually, I have a match off of that card.
Okay.
That's not that match, because these are best SummerSlam memories. But go ahead.
Well, then, since you're trying to knock what my best is, and my definition is best is memorable because it said memories, I'll take that one off. Speaking of off, Shane falling off the Titantron. I did not remember that was SummerSlam, but I remember to this day, to the point where we even reference that anytime Shane does a crazy, silly move, we reference back to that point there. And lastly,
who knocked Shane off of it?
I forgot his name. He's like this.
How the fuck is it a memory then if you don't remember
because
who knocked him
does
off?
It matter?
Steve Blackman, Rhodesia.
There we go. Steve Blackman.
Hit him in the back. Pop. My man just dropped.
I felt like I was there. That's how much I remember that. I felt like I was actually in the arena. I'm like, well, no, we didn't go to SummerSlam until whenever. But this one makes me mad. But this is the only one that I knew for a fact was SummerSlam, and this is like the highest level on my memory. And it was when Becky came and beat Bianca Belair in 30-something seconds. That was my favorite SummerSlam memory, although I was pissed. That is something I will never forget when, where, how, and all that went down.
I know you were Hill if you had that as your best memory. That's cool, though, because we don't have anything close. I think me and E probably, I don't know how many E has, but I'm going to bet we have at least, I'm going to say 2. I know for a fact we got one of the same.
I'm gonna say for your Matt, if you don't have one of these, this one I'm looking at on your list, then like I'll do a shot of something because I know without a doubt this has to be on your list.
All right. Well, I'm gonna E to go first, but yeah, I think we at least got one in the same. What you got, E?
Man, y'all, I'm gonna disappoint you a little bit, man. Because to be honest with you, when we came up with this topic, I'm like, oh, it must be a slow news week because, like, SummerSlam. But I thought about, you know what? Let me hear what my people think about SummerSlam. I gotta tell y'all something. SummerSlam is not my favorite pay-per-view. I couldn't really think. I mean, I was gonna come on here and lie to my people, to the freaks, to say and come up with some things for the topic. SummerSlam was not my favorite. I couldn't really think off the top of my head how many SummerSlams were actually memorable. I understand this is the second biggest, but for me, it never was. It was Mania, Royal Rumble, up until about when they started crapping the pants on the Survivor Series. I like the Survivor Series concept.
When they started doing Raw and SmackDown, and it didn't mean anything before or after. That's probably when it was like, all right.
And I think for SummerSlam, I had fonder memories of it because as a kid, I thought it was cool seeing the bad guys team up, seeing the good guys team up, because you didn't see it happen often back then. But I wouldn't say, to be honest with you, I never really had SummerSlam as like one of my top events, though. But off the top of my head, because when I think about best memories, I think about things good. So I wouldn't say Bianca Belair losing in 2 seconds would be something.
30 something seconds, like 31 seconds, right?
and you know the way my brain works, I don't keep hold of like negative memories and things. So I actually wouldn't have even thought about it. So you just brought it up, to be honest with you.
Just like you forgot about Money in the Bank already.
See, you know what? Y'all want to let me live it down because I totally forgot about that show. I would, if y'all never mention Money in the Bank, I won't think about it again until next year. But memories, it's wrestling. It's all wrestling, right? It was just WrestleMania in Detroit. Getting a chance to go back home, big pay-per-view. I've never been to a SummerSlam, and I got to go to a SummerSlam in my hometown. And it was the weekend too. It's hanging out with my friends and family. Just loved the event itself. From an actual match standpoint, I had to look it up because again, like it's not my thing, SummerSlam, to be honest with you. But Shawn Michaels versus Razor Ramon, one of my favorite matches. One of my guys.
Is that the second ladder match?
Second ladder match. Escapes me the year.
Man, I don't really remember that match. I only remember the first one.
I remember that one, and it wasn't as, it wasn't as good as the first one. It was memorable because it was the second one, but still was a really good one. And you know what? Actually, while we're talking about Shawn Michaels, Stevie Richards, he actually has a nice podcast, and he actually shared like a negative Shawn Michaels story that I was like, man, like he said, and the title of it was like "Never Meet Your Heroes." And he talks about how back when they were working together, he actually went up to Shawn and said, "Hey, can I talk to you for a couple minutes?" And he told Shawn about how what made him, he inspired him to be a wrestler. That, the moments and memories that he created, when he was a young man, motivated him to become a wrestler, and he wanted to thank him for that experience. And he said he felt like Shawn Michaels treated him very coldly afterwards. Like he barely talked to him, he barely looked at him. He said he felt like Shawn Michaels like maybe lost respect for him because he shared that with him.
And what year was this? Do we know when was this?
Well, it's before I was watching, so it gotta be before 98.
No, it was after 98, sweetie. This is like probably in the mid.
He's calling me sweetie. I'm a woman. I'm a woman. Don't call me sweetie.
You said
you pay one of my bills. I'm blowing my back out. Don't call me sweetie.
All right. So we gotta establish some rules on here. I don't want to think about sex with you. I don't want to think about your husband. That's not interesting. But it was more so like, God, bro, did you know more about wrestling than you pretend to? I mean, you got to, right? You got to, right? Like you gotta know more about wrestling than you pretend to.
I wondered if that was like when Shawn was like a drug fiend.
No,
like if you say it was like 2000s.
Yeah, because you would think about because Stevie Richards would have been in ECW back then, right when Shawn Michaels was going through all those problems or kind of starting out. This is like when he came back.
Okay.
Because I don't actually even know what gimmick it was, but I would probably imagine it was either Right to Censor or when he kind of was like a jobber.
Okay.
But his thing was like just going back to it. He's like man, he's like anytime like a wrestler or somebody comes out to me or a fan, I don't want them to think it's an inconvenience because they're coming to me and telling me about their fandom or how much they enjoy my work or that they want my advice. So like he said, he took that as a motivation to show appreciation for any time he hears positive things in his work. And that kind of hurt me from being a Shawn Michaels fan. Like, damn, man, you treat people like that, man. And this was kind of back again. This is back when he was saved. So.
And for the record, it was 95. I just pulled it up. Ooh, yeah.
What was 90? Which part was 95?
The SummerSlam of Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon. The ladder match. Unless they had two ladder matches at SummerSlam.
Wasn't that the same year as they... Was that the...
Was that WrestleMania 10.
Or was it the next year from Mania's match? Maybe I think it was the following.
It was close. I mean, those two rematches were within the same feud, so it probably was around the same time span. I would imagine,
and that could be why I don't remember it. Maybe I know I've seen it. I just don't. I know it happened at SummerSlam, but
that was 95, man. Think about it. This is as we talk about like that's when where you said I can't. That's a long time ago, man. Like a lot of these matches and moments. And that's when we talk about like even being current fans, man. We see so much wrestling and stuff happen so quickly. Like we talk about it all the time. Like I can't remember what Dynamite was from like from Wednesday. Seemed like that was like 2 weeks ago. Like Blood and Guts when we get to talk about it.
It's funny because now like with me, I used to remember everything by like years. Now I remember everything by cities. Right. So like I don't have this on my list, but Roman and Lesnar.
Yep.
Last man standing match, one of the best matches, one of the best last standing matches ever. I'll never know what year it was, but I know it was Nashville. I'll never forget it was Nashville. So that's kind of like what I remember now. Like so many of the WrestleManias, I remember, that was New York. That was New Orleans. Dates or like the WrestleMania, the year or whatever it is, the number. Nope. But I'm going to tell you where it was at. But to like E's point, if that match was 95, I have 3 matches that's some of my best memories before 95. Whoa. One is Mega Powers.
That was SummerSlam?
I think it was 88, either 88 or 89. It was Mega Powers versus Ted DiBiase and was it Virgil or Andre? I can't remember who the other person, but that was a big deal because it was the Mega Powers. That was SummerSlam before they had their WrestleMania match. And I just remember like going to school like super excited that night because the pay-per-view was that night. So that was a big one for me. Bret Hart versus Mr. Perfect was one of the best. That still probably holds up. Haven't seen it in a long, long time. But if you've never seen Bret and Mr. Perfect at SummerSlam, pull it up on Peacock. SummerSlam 92, that entire event, because it was at Wembley. And I remember it was taped, and I knew it was taped. And I thought even back then at my age, I'm like, man, it shows ain't going to be as good because I know it's not. I think they taped it on like that Saturday or something. And it was fantastic just to see that the crowd, that amount of people, and then Bret and Davey Boy Smith on top. Davey Boy Smith won, which I kind of knew he was going to win because it was his home country. It was kind of one of those type of things that kind of took away from it a little bit for me. And they were fighting for the IC title. I can't even remember who the world champion was at that time. But that was one of my best memories. Shawn's first match back against Triple H. The unsanctioned match. And I think that was the same show as Brock and Rock.
Hey, was that Duke Brown Pants, Shawn?
It was his first match back, and they just told an incredible story about.
Was it Doodoo Pants? Was it Doodoo?
He had on jeans.
Oh, it was the jeans match. Okay, that's right. I remember that. Yep.
And I just remember like the backbreakers and like just the selling of it, of you watching like, damn, like if he's not fully clear, man, this is it. Like that was fantastic. Triple H versus Rock.
It was 02.
Okay, yep. Triple H versus Rock, which was a ladder match. That was in New York. I remember that match, Square Garden. That match was tremendous. TLC, the first TLC was at a SummerSlam. I don't think the first TLC was at a WrestleMania. So that one is like stuck in my head. And then the last one for me, even though I've been to 2 SummerSlams since this match, it was John Cena versus Brock Lesnar. That to watch.
He annihilated him, right? Yeah, he annihilated him.
Yeah.
Yep. Was that during the same time incredible. Of the lead up that I got mad at Brock? Is that when my hate for Brock started? Was that time he went against John?
At that point, he already beat Undertaker, so you already had hate for him.
Yeah, but I can kind of move past that. But remember, there was a time where Brock was just like I said, he's hitting them too stiff. Remember, and I was about to start crying.
That was every match with Brock. That's his gimmick.
But it was with Brock and John Cena in particular.
Oh, but that could have been it.
That might have been the lead up for it.
That was the advent of Suplex City.
Oh yeah, sure was.
Just to see a squash match as a main event was tremendous. It's kind of like when Goldberg beat Brock. I think at Survivor Series, and he beat him in like 2 minutes, and we were just like, "Yo, what?
Yep.
They did that." It's like those moments. It is literally like the holy shit moments that are. So while we watch, man, I saw somebody talk about the Robert Downey Jr. reveal of being Dr. Doom and how like this is why we're wrestling fans. This is the type of reveals we get, kind of often, and like it's the best thing ever. And I agree. Like seeing that, I didn't really put wrestling to it, but we get that a lot in our entertainment medium. Where other people kind of don't get that. We get that at least a few times a year. It seems like so. So we found out a couple things.
Hey, Matt, real quick.
Yes.
Right before you shift gears, Tony Storm as Dr. Doom, yay or nay?
I got to see how they do it, man. And I know that's
yay
like
a cheat answer. Yay or nay? No, don't do that.
Oh, well, if it's yay or nay, it's absolutely yay. I'm just happy he's back in the Marvel. So, yeah.
What about you, Rhodesia?
I don't want to get canceled by now the Marvel fans, but you probably know my answer. It's a nay.
Why nay?
So I have this thing where it irks my soul that when it comes out with like content, new movies, new TV shows, new music, stuff is not new anymore. It's recycling the same thing over and over again. Maybe Matt even told me that because you live long enough that this stuff is just going to recycle itself. But I'm tired of that. The bigger picture is he has a huge backing, so you can bring Marvel back to where it should be at. Okay, I guess I'm okay with that. But if you're saying yay or nay, it is absolutely nay. We can find somebody else to build up to Dr. Doom. Like in my mind, I'm going to be conflicted. Like, okay, so you were Iron Man. Okay, now you're Dr. Doom. Now, unless in this Marvel, he never shows his face and he's always just behind his mask. I guess that's like no different than like Green Goblin. Green Goblin's trash, but I'm just saying as far as the look. But to me, you can find somebody else, if not build somebody else up to that level. Like
they don't
that
have time to build. This is AEW right now. They got to go with what works. They've tried to build since Avengers Endgame. When the last time you paid money to go exactly? We ain't even got Disney Plus right now. They need there. That's why I said if you talk about yay or nay, it's a big yay. Yeah. Big yay.
So you think yay?
I'm gonna go yay. Because I'm gonna see how it plays out. Because this is gonna be an alternate universe Doctor Doom, where it's kind of those what if, like if you guys ever watched those which are pretty good. Comic books was fabulous back in the day. This is kind of a what if. So Tony Stark is actually Doctor Doom in this universe, right? So it's kind of a way to bring.
So he is Tony Stark then.
He's Tony Stark, but in this world, he's Doctor Doom, not Iron Man. Because
okay, then that makes a whole world of difference. Then okay. All right.
Yeah, so and I want to see how that plays out. Right now, it'll be yay or nay completely when we actually see the movie and see how the story and this alternate version of Doctor Doom and Tony Stark makes sense, right? But I'm yay because I think that was a perfect analogy, Matt. I'm not sure what the next segment is, but this is an AEW situation. They got to do. They got a big name. They got a big name to bring back the audience because the Avengers and the Marvel Universe ain't been popping ever since Endgame. That's a fact.
Yeah, man. Like, and I wanted to be back, but I was telling Rhodesia, like, I was looking at my like 4K collection, and I think the last 4K, I can't remember the last, outside of Spider-Man. Spider-Man doesn't count. Outside of Spider-Man, I haven't bought a Marvel movie. Now, granted, we had Disney Plus too, but it's just not the same since Endgame. Like, I enjoyed the last Thors. Of course, like I said, Spider-Man. They've done tremendous with that.
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange. Outside of that, it's like they've been really hit and miss. Nothing to the level of what we have been accustomed to over the last decade with Marvel. So they need this. They need this new Avengers movie. And if it is to get Robert Downey Jr. back to get something going, for me, it's going to be hard for me to watch him on a Marvel movie and not think of Iron Man. But if they can figure out a way to lean into that or completely shut the door while we're watching as viewers that he is no longer Iron Man at all, then I'm all for it.
You know what this reminds me of though, Matt? Because I feel like the Marvel Universe, when there's a building towards the Avengers uniting and the big bit that was going on with the Avengers, and that was kind of like the meat and potatoes of the Marvel Universe for, almost 2 decades, right? And then once that was kind of over and a lot of the pieces kind of moved off the board. Like it just wasn't the same, right? I feel like we're kind of like in that same situation when WWE and the Bloodline, right? Like the Bloodline's been like the meat and potatoes of the WWE universe for about 5 or 6 years now. So we got another year at least of these parts being on the table. But when like the Bloodline story is over, I wonder how successful WWE is going to be. I feel like they can milk this out for another 2 years, right?
Yeah, and they still got Cody, right? And they're still going to have Roman's story arc. And by that time, you hope your Braun Breakers, your Tiffany Strattons, your Jade Cargills, and all of them can elevate. But I think they've done a much better job of already getting them going than kind of like Marvel did. And I know that's really hard to do. It's not like No Limit where they was dropping CDs every single week back in the day. You can't push everybody. I get that. But it just seems like Marvel was all about like those main characters, to your point. And then when some of them died off or they moved on after Endgame, we were left with the Eternals. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna give it a shot, but this ain't the same, man. Like, what is this? So yeah,
but it's like a DJ set though, so you got the crowd going, right? But to the point where right before they pass out from dehydration and exhaustion, you put on like a not bum ass record, like bum, but it's just like it's to bring it back down. So that's what the Eternals was. I actually liked the movie. Anyway, I just have a couple more things on SummerSlam and we can wrap that part. I feel SummerSlam completely sweeps the floor against Royal Rumble. The Rumble, outside of the Rumble, to me, has always been just a gimmick, and we get all these super cool comebacks out of nowhere and like the last 4 in the ring and that excitement. But I feel like SummerSlam just in general, and me doing research on it, just going back looking at all these SummerSlam kills it. And it also could be because it's summertime. And so for people who live in 4-season weather, you just probably feel happier in the summer anyways. But to me, SummerSlam kills Royal Rumble. And Matt, I am so surprised that you didn't say one of your favorite memories was when Macho Man and Miss Elizabeth got married. I just knew you were going to say that.
My favorite memory from that was when he proposed on Superstars.
Okay.
Elizabeth.
Got it.
Elizabeth.
But damn, that's kind of
you marry me? And the crowd pops. And then you got Roddy Piper on the announce. We don't have an answer. Well, we don't have an answer. And then what she say? Oh yes. And then Vince. Ha ha ha.
This is at SummerSlam. But I don't remember that being at SummerSlam, to be honest with y'all. But
because they had on white.
But I think if you compare SummerSlam and WrestleMania and look at like the big things that happened out of Mania, it's like the last 2 Manias together. But Macho, Savage, we did shows based on WrestleMania, man. Like they had like some big matches, and you compare those two, and a lot of times those like in your payoffs too. I think that's a really yeah. I think if you really compare those two, Rhodesia, I think the WrestleMania will be the winner.
You know what's funny?
No, I said Rumble. I said Rumble, not Mania. I'm talking about Rumble.
Yeah.
Rumble versus SummerSlam.
See, Rumble is the gimmick. It's the gimmick of
that's what I'm saying. It's the gimmick. Yeah.
No, because like what Matt? When did they start actually having like match? I mean, they always had matches, but it's I kind of feel like back in the day, like the Royal Rumble pay-per-view was mainly just a Rumble, and you might have had like a 1 or 2 matches, but
they would do matches, but you didn't care about them. Right, no. Like they were like they weren't throwing away matches, but it was just like, all right, the main event is the Rumble, and then they kind of switched to putting the title matches on there. And now you started
having more matches besides just like recently. But I want to say like in the 90s and early 2000s, like it was a 2-hour pay per view. It was an hour and a half was actually was like the Royal Rumble, and they had just the men's back then.
To me, SummerSlam, and it's always been this way. SummerSlam is the wrestling equivalent to WrestleMania without the pomp and circumstance and the stars and the all that other kind of hoopla. That's always what like SummerSlam was like. Yeah, typically like with SummerSlam, you're going to get you 2 or 3 fantastic matches. Where like with WrestleMania back in the day, not over the last 3 years with Triple H really being ahead of it, you would have to sit through a couple hours of stuff you probably didn't care about to get to that main event or that match of the year candidate that you were going to get, or the Money in the Bank ladder match when that was a thing at Mania. And then, but you would sit through another 3 or 4 matches and you're just like, all right, I don't even care who wins this match. SummerSlam took out a lot of that filler. And so that's why I think like SummerSlam holds a special place in a lot of fans' hearts because of that. Like SummerSlam is like the wrestling. If it wasn't for AEW, SummerSlam is like the wrestling fans pay-per-view back in the day. Speaking of AEW, y'all want to get into y'all thoughts on Blood and Guts, or do y'all want to go to something else? I'm wide open. Whatever y'all want to do. I hear some papers turning.
Gotta get my notes out.
I thought Skip Bayless was on the damn call. I was looking in the chat. I'm like,
gotta get my notes ready. I gotta get my glasses together. I should have wrote in pen, not pencil.
sheesh.
We can bring up Blood and Guts.
Take it away. I mean, I already gave my thoughts a little bit.
No, but you didn't know. You said that you was saving most of it. You just had to say one thing. I'm gonna first just set the stage of me watching Blood and Guts.
Ooh.
So I didn't watch it till today. So I'm at the table doing some of my 9-to-5 work, and I put on Blood and Guts. And Matt always talks about on this pod how I be half watching wrestling, and I usually say to him, "You lying? Stop talking falsities on my name like that." Well, I guess it is kind of true. So as I'm watching Blood and Guts on TV,
ain't no kind of about it. So
about 2 minutes into Blood and Guts, I look up and I'm like, since when did Ricky Starks come back?
Excuse what?
I said,
the match or the show? You said 2 minutes into. You talking about the match?
2 minutes
itself?
into the show. 2 minutes into the show. Yep, I didn't hit. I had play on Blood and Guts.
Okay.
And I'm like, why is Ricky Starks on my TV screen? I'm like, I would have known. I'm not on the internet as much as y'all. I'm like, but I would have known if Ricky Starks like was back involved. And I'm like, okay, Matt is right. I'm not paying attention at all to what's happening right now. So I stopped, put my work down. Actually, I waited. I said, you know what? Let me press pause. I waited like 10 minutes to finish doing what I had to do for work because that was pretty time sensitive. Come back to it. I start watching it. And then I hear Tony Schiavone say, yeah, tonight when all the belts is on the line. I'm like, what? Since when was Blood and Guts all about championships on the line? I was watching Battle of the Belts. I don't know if I got that out, but I was watching Battle of those Belts.
Oh my God.
Don't know which one.
Hilarious.
I don't know if it was the most recent Battle of the Belts. I don't know.
If Ricky Starks is on it, absolutely was not the most recent Battle of the Belts. But at least you caught it 2 minutes in.
No, Matt. That was already far into it.
See, that's what you get, man. If that does not prove you don't watch wrestling, nothing will ever prove you don't watch wrestling. This fool was watching Battle of the Belts, thought it was Blood and Guts. God bless.
What's happening today over there in Chicago?
God
I'm
bless.
crying right now.
Man.
Now, granted, I have done that one time too, like with YouTube TV. You think
Right.
you're watching something
Yes.
else, but it ain't what you think you're watching, and it was AEW too. So, you know what? And it was Battle of the Belts. It was just, man.
So you know what Ricky Starks I'm talking about.
We need to delete that forever. Because Ricky Starks ain't been on AEW TV. He ain't gonna be on AEW TV.
Oh my God. Sorry. I'm so sorry, y'all. That's not. I should have composed myself a little bit better, but it was
so
like
when you finally got
truth.
to actually Blood and did you ever watch this year's Blood and Guts?
I did.
When you watched it, did you see MJF with a new title belt? Let's start there.
Wait, so look. So I was like,
more.
I was like,
She said, "No, listen."
Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me. Wait, I can't even get it out. Sound
All
like
right,
George Bush.
Okay, we'll move on. We'll let you get yourself together. There you go. Go ahead and mute up if you need to. Eshaun, your thoughts on Blood and Guts. When did you watch it?
I watched it probably not. I didn't watch it Wednesday. I think I watched it probably Friday, maybe Friday.
Okay.
I think I watched it.
What'd you think?
And it was a wrestling show. So I'm gonna go down the list. So I was very interested in. So MJF, awesome heel, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's such a great heel, and I think actually this heel version is a little stronger than the past. He was doing a great job of like turning the crowd this time, like right. He was really, when he was kind of like we kind of want him as a face, he was really grasping to stay heel. But this time he was really getting on the crowd. But let's get right into it, man. Like that belt is god awful, man.
Told you, Donald Trump belt.
And yeah, for sure. I mean,
but that plays in the heel part of
too.
it, though. Yeah, exactly.
It makes sense for the heel part. But you know what? This is the thing about when I watch this show, and this is why I get mad at Tony Khan. Because actually, I got some positive things. Because I want to talk about did you guys know? I'm gonna say it right now because I don't actually know when we get into it on the pod actually. But did you guys know that the timeless Tony Storm gimmick is a Tony Khan creation? Did you guys know that?
The majority of what we see is good or bad. Good or bad.
Yep. That was him because I thought that was something that Tony Storm would have came up with, and he worked with him. But no, that was actually his idea. So he has some great creative. The Men of the Hour, Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky, that was his creation. So Tony Khan creatively has some good creations. Acclaim, he came up with that tag team as well. But the titles, the titles in this, there's too many of them. And I feel like he does so many little things to kind of devalue these championships. The fact that you got this international championship is already going through a rebrand. This is the second rebrand. This is the third rebrand, right? Okay, rebrand. But you take the title and you throw it in the trash. I think this symbolizes what that title means, right? So whenever, I'm not sure if the American Championship is what it's going to be for the rest of its inception in AEW. Yeah, but I would imagine at some point, I don't know if Will's going to get the title back and he's going to want the international championship to be the international championship again. Was he going in the trash to get it? Like he has to, like for me, I don't know about y'all, but when something goes in the trash in my house, it stays in the trash. Like I don't care if it accidentally falls in there or whatever. I'm just gonna get me a new one. Like,
I'm a trash digger. I'll grab
that before too. Yeah,
blow right off.
I've dug in the trash before.
Yeah.
Hey, now, not to eat something.
Look.
But I've dug in the trash before.
Hey, if it's in the trash, it's in the trash for a reason. So, like, for me, like, all right, what's he going to do? He's going to go in the trash can and get the championship, and he's going to start defending this garbage title again. Like, right? I just kind of feel like even the hardcore championship back in the day, Vince McMahon treated that with more respect than these titles are being treated with. Like, I didn't like the symbolization of that because we might eventually go back to international championship. Or if they don't, like, the constant rebrand of the championship, I think this continues to devalue championship even more than what it is. But the actual segment itself and MJF doing this thing, I thought was really good. I just didn't like them, again, devaluing their titles because it's already a pointless title at this point anyway, along with the Continental title. And I don't know why they have these titles and what the importance is or why you would want one over the other besides the World Championship. But I didn't feel like this segment did that any more favors besides just get MJF over as one of the best heels in the business. But that was my thoughts on that. What do you think about it, Rhodesia?
I was proud that we were finally getting some shut the fuck up chants against MJF. And I was a little bit worried and concerned that when he came back, because he's coming back from injury, that he wouldn't be able to get over as a heel because people were still going to love him. And then even at the end of this whole segment, there was still some cheers for him too. But the point is, I was like, yes, so it's working. People are saying, shut the fuck up to MJF. Mm-hmm. Just when you thought that AEW had enough championships, now we got the American Championship. To your point about throwing something in the trash, I think initially I had that same sentiment like, Tony, what are you doing here? Like, you like disrespecting, you shitting on your own area, like we're your own playground. What's happening? But when Will went back in there to get it and how he grabbed it and looked at it like it was important and it was prestige, I was okay with that at the end of it. But initially when he dropped it, I thought that was trash. Are we going to move on or are we going to?
No, but that's the point of why he did that, is to get the pop in Wembley, which is Will's home country. So now that match is even bigger because they switched the belt and he's going to win the belt back and do the international thing, et cetera, et cetera. My only thing about MJF becoming the heel you guys are talking about, I think that's directly tied to his feud with Will Ospreay. Well, I mean, we all like that, but that's wrestling, right? Either way. Yep, in order to be a massive heel, you got to have a huge face. In order to be a huge face, you got to have a massive heel. And that's why this is really smart, because if they're going to make MJF a heel, let's start the feud off with the most arguably over baby face that's in the company right now with Ospreay, and then you double back with someone who is super over with your fan base, and that's Garcia. So they're going back to back with two huge baby faces.
And he even played at that C too about Garcia too, which I liked about it too.
they're doing it right with him, because you're right. Because as a heel, he's our scumbag, right? He's our scumbag, and now you're not getting that as much.
Mm-hmm.
But I do. You talked about E. So Tony Khan's issue is never creative. His issue is putting together television. And I got something I can't wait to share with you guys. And it may not even be that big of a deal to you guys, but after we talk about blood and guts, I'll show you exactly what I mean with what happened after blood and guts. That is just, you just want to bang your head against the wall and just say, get mileage out of what you and your wrestlers are doing on a weekly basis on TV.
I'm assuming it's something not what we saw on the shows, like on Rampage or Collision. It's something else that was maybe on social media. Oh, it was on.
It's something on yet.
Yep. All right. One thing I want to point out about Blood and Guts, and I have to just go back to finish this off, because I didn't have any composure when I was telling you about me finding Blood and Guts. So the second part of it, so about 15, 20 minutes into me watching Battle of the Belts, not that long, because it was still the same match going on. I said, fine, I'm going to go and do a regular search on YouTube, the YouTube TV.
Mm-hmm.
I'm typing it in. If you type in AEW Blood and Guts, it doesn't come up. So now I'm sitting there for like 5 minutes pissed because I can't find it. I know that. I know that. So finally I'm like, okay, Rhodesia, stop everything else that you're doing. You can't multitask. You can barely task alone singly. All right, stop. And that's when I said, and it was right there. Want to watch AEW Dynamite? And I was like, ding, 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 ding. And then that's how we got here. But what we got to give props when props is due. I absolutely loved AEW production around the Sheeta and Dr. Britt Baker. I have forgot the bangers of matches that they had.
Yeah,
how they held it 4 down in the beginning of its inception during the pandemic. And I think they did a phenomenal job bringing us up to this point now of what we have in Sheeta and Dr. Britt Baker. Thought it was amazing.
And why the match was important. Because even I forgot. I was like, oh shit, that was against Sheeta. Oh shit, that was this. So overall, bravo to that, because that was excellent.
Yeah, good match. The only thing I can think about was like when Mercedes Moné came out there, and I'm like, damn, what a missed opportunity she was. Like, because I don't want to say that.
He said she was.
Yeah, who's she? Somebody retired? Who you talking about?
You know who he's talking about.
No, who you talking about? Who was a missed opportunity?
Oh, your internet must miss it. I said Mercedes Moné.
Right?
And one missed opportunity. Cause I remember we talked about like when Punk left, we were like, and the rumors was the Edge was coming, she was coming. We were like, yo, you think those two can replace like the fans and like, that was lost when Punk goes? Yeah, I was like, absolutely. And Edge, nope. Mercedes, no. And I feel it's a missed opportunity because she came in with a lot of like pump of circumstance around her when she came in. And I feel like right now, that's like when I say like she's another AEW wrestler, not that she's not important, but she's not a needle mover for them.
She's not what she should be and could be.
And she could have been. And they had an awesome opportunity when they first brought her in to be that. Like, right. Now she's kind of settling in as being one of the, the top heel in the women's division, right? Because we knew that she was going to be the top in the women's division, right? But the hope was that she's going to transcend the women's division, just be like one of their biggest stars, one of their biggest drawing stars, and she's not that right now. And I don't think that's fault to her own, but maybe it is because she has creative control. I mean, they brought a writer in. They brought a writer in specifically for her, like, right? So she has a lot of say in what she's doing, right? Tony Khan, I just talked about it earlier, man. Like, he has some great ideas for characters. His problem is television and the ebbs and flows of a story. Because, right, even with the Tony Storm and Mariah May, like that's gonna be probably a really good wrestling feud, right? It's booking 101, right? What was happening with that thing right now? We had a surprise beatdown. She was off TV for about a week, like, right? Mariah came in and cut like a villain promo. Then this week she had like a nice little jobber beat down, and then it was a pull apart brawl. All very good.
Local beat down, Eshaun. Mm-hmm. We just talked about this last
Enhancement
time.
talent and local
Dustin
legends.
Rhodes, your favorite's brother, said, do not use that word, jobber. It is disrespectful. We are coining them local legends, sir.
Okay. But yeah, they brought her in there, the local jobber. And,
yeah, I like that too.
Oh, come on.
I like that. I like that. I thought that was really good.
Yeah,
the squash was good, and I like Tony showing up. I thought that was good.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good feud. We know that, right? But the opportunity of it being like a dynamic story with a roller coaster, and it's not going to be that, as we're seeing, because it's like nothing wrong with booking 1-on-1, but I think they had an opportunity for it to be a little bit more something that we can talk about for years to come. Like, hey, you remember that story about and how Mariah May was or whatever the story was, right? Now it's just going to become something we're going to forget about probably another year or so, right? But going back to Monet, like I think she was kind of partly responsible, but at the top of the line, like Tony Khan should have been like, hey, we're going to present you as the star that we are from top to bottom. We're going to showcase you in the best form. Maybe that's the best they came up with. But whatever happened, I felt like just a missed opportunity because there was a moment to where she could have been the biggest star in that company and one of the biggest stars in all of wrestling. Not to say she isn't, but she's not drawing like I thought she would. Right?
It's the presentation. Look at last night on Collision. Brandon sent us the clip of, what are they being called now? They were the Maxim models in WWE. I think they're called like the M&M collection now.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm not saying they're game changers, right? I think they have a lot to bring to any company they go to for sure. How do you just debut them on Collision without like any type of anything behind them? They are now just, you are telling us they're regular people because you're telling us they're regular people, right? Like, and that's what happens when they get these big signings. We like, man, that person can be a game changer. Man, that person can be a game changer. Well, wrestling is all about presentation. Anybody can be anything on any given week, depending how they're written for. We see that all the time. And that's where they continue to mess up. So I know we're going to, I just want to get to the part that I wanted to bring up to you guys. So we have this incredible blood and guts match. I think everybody can say the match worked well. I do want to get your guys' thoughts on Swerve and Hangman. That was fantastic. Like, hopefully you guys see when I said they really gave Swerve that he's him moment in there. Do you guys know who won the Royal Rampage Battle Royal on Rampage Friday?
Well, because you're asking this question, then it has to be somebody from the Elite, right?
So you don't know who won?
I don't know who won, no.
Any idea who won?
I don't watch Rampage regularly.
Yep, I haven't watched it either. But so this is what I talk about when I talk about presentation and how you step on what you've done. Darby Allin won the Battle Royal. How can Darby Allin beat that many guys and he just went through a grueling, hellacious blood and guts match on Wednesday? And he wins a match on Friday, which actually happened the same night. Takeout happened the same night. We don't know what happened the same night. It's supposed to be on Friday. How is Darby Allin wrestling 2 days later in your most dangerous match that you have? That's number one. Second, you guys like to know on Collision that Mark Briscoe retained his title? Mark Briscoe was also in Blood and Guts. How? That's what I mean when they don't get mileage out of it. Anybody who's in Blood and Guts shouldn't be wrestling for damn sure a week. If you can't push it 2 weeks, I get that. But you could have them bandaged up, tape all over. Give me some promos putting over Blood and Guts for just a week straight for those guys. And then when Blood and Guts comes back around, you can show the video of how it just destroys bodies and et cetera, et cetera. But when you had that kind of match where they are doing what they're doing, and then you damn near essentially no-sell it on your next broadcast, that's crazy.
So to play devil's advocate, could it be a non-factor for him, like thinking of we should have them on Collision and retain for that matter, or even have them on wrestling on Collision just in general. Maybe because the optics is that Darby was standing up at the end of Blood and Guts and Mark Briscoe was standing up at the end of Blood and Guts. Could that be his thinking? If I'm playing devil's advocate here, be different if Jack Perry was in the match.
I was gonna say the same thing though, Roach. I'm like, man, at least they won the match though, right? Like
the last thing we saw, they were standing.
Yeah, if there was I get what you're saying though, Matt. Like we're always typically on the same page with these kind of like details, but it's wrestling, right? Like it's like as much as I complain about these type of things all the time too, but I also understand that what did I call it? The wrestling bullshit. That's some of it is there. Mm-hmm. That's some of it, but at least, but at least in this situation, like Rhodesia said, at least they were the victors, right? So they weren't as beat up as the Elite. Like Rhodesia was saying, like this was like Jack Perry, defending championship.
Oh my God,
one of the other guys. Like I think it's a little bit different.
I probably would not be an AEW fan.
Yeah, but these guys, at least these guys were standing tall, right? They weren't the guys that got beat. They weren't the ones that were laying on, doing the 3-second tan, right? They used the guys that stood tall at the end. So I feel what you're saying. I get 1,000%. I actually have more of a problem with Tony Storm returning this quickly from that brutal beatdown with the shoe. Like she came back within a week. I feel
but at
like
least she was in the match.
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Yeah,
it was 2 weeks. Because I was worried. Remember, I was worried they were going to do that last week. It was 2 weeks because she cut the promo.
Last week was the
promo. That's right.
Yeah,
Mariah, the promo we didn't quite understand either.
That's what I meant. I feel like 2 more weeks. Like next week, like right after Mariah kind of did her promo, then Tony coming back, right? Like, but but that was a small thing too, because I get it, because the pay-per-view coming up pretty soon. They got some story you got to tell. So it's just one of them things. No, but I feel you 1,000% though.
Yeah.
Something funny before we talk about like the Swerve and Hangman effect. Did y'all understand what Mark Briscoe said? A line he talked about some falling over in a boat and couldn't get up.
No, that's the point though.
Like, what?
That's the point.
I'm like,
everybody, that's this thing. Like, man, I don't know what that man talk about. Hey, but I'm riding with him.
I'm ready to go.
I'm ready
to go. Yep. Ain't no different than Coach telling us we gonna bite kneecaps. As Lions fans, we was like, hell yeah, we biting some kneecaps.
Coach,
and it worked.
DC, you just for that, we gotta go to the Super Bowl for the shit you pulled.
Did you see that? Hulk Hogan showed up to Lions practice this past week?
No, I had no idea.
Showed up to Lions practice.
They should have escorted them out of the facility. What are you doing there?
Man, you kidding me? Get all the way up out of here. So we're gonna have to figure something out. We gotta do something to get that nasty mojo. I got like 5 different text messages, and we were like, "Oh man, we're not going to the playoffs." You see who at practice? I was like, "Yes." Oh, Hogan ass at practice. Lion ass Hogan. He probably gonna talk about he was the one that told Jared Goff that he should play
in Detroit, right?
In Detroit, yeah, he gonna come up with some type of lie.
Hey, this we're not gonna make this a political thing, but it makes sense that he supports who he supports based on who he is and the shit that he talks. It makes sense. It all makes sense. I would love for them to sit across from each other, like Trump and Hogan, and just tell stories. Like, right?
Oh, they gotta one up each other too. They gotta one up each other. Actually, that probably would be some funny content.
Hey, look, actually, if that was on Fox News, I would watch. I'm serious.
Man, look,
it's just a lie off. Who can lie better?
It's a lie off.
Yeah.
It's a lie off. I'm down. So, what y'all think about the actual Blood and Guts match? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I really, really liked it. So, of course, I'll let you kind of set the stage as far as the Hangman and Swerve. But what I really enjoyed about this Blood and Guts was I actually watched it. So this is the 4th one or the 3rd Blood and Guts. I forgot how many it's been now. Mm-hmm. And I've always have had a problem watching it because it was just too gruesome. And to me, I felt like this was a very violent and dangerous match. But it was there, like in the sense of I didn't have to ever look away. Like the moves that they did, I felt like it's less chances of fluke injuries, like major fluke injuries, but yet didn't lose the integrity of the gruesomeness. Like, so for me, I was so happy. Like they had the tax spots on the skateboard. That was cool. It just went into his arm. So again, that's something that like, not like they can really, really break their neck or something on. I was just really impressed with what they thought of as far as spots. And those spots was relatively safe. It's painful and it's going to hurt, but it was relatively safe, just in general. And then I think it was Mark Briscoe, toward the end of the match, he did the elbow drop on the table in between both the rings. That was just so clever. Just like the things they thought of. I just really enjoyed it. I enjoyed even before the Blood and Guts actual match started. I even enjoyed kind of that part of it too. But as far as when it actually started, the violence, the danger was all there for me, but I never was like, why are you doing that? Like the whole scissors thing. I know you said that you had something to talk about on the scissors. It wasn't anything like we saw before with Daniel Bryan and the screwdriver thing. Like that to me was gruesome for me. And I did not like that. Or maybe it was I'll call him Dean Ambrose, Moxley, who did the screwdriver thing. But I just thought it was enough blood and guts, and it wasn't to the point where it was disgusting and distasteful. I loved everything that they did about that match.
Yeah, it wasn't. These kind of matches aren't my thing. I'm not a hardcore guy.
But it wasn't like hardcore, like it is. It's almost like it is, but it ain't. Matt probably understand what I mean by that. There's times where like these matches would be like so gruesome that I will literally turn away. And I hadn't watched the previous Blood and Guts because of that. But this one I thought was actually really good.
I'm a horror fan, so like the blood and guts, the gruesomeness stuff doesn't really do anything for me, to be honest with you. But
you say you are a horror fan, or you're not?
Super horror fan. Yeah, I
Did
love
you
horror
watch?
movies.
You have Peacock, right?
Yeah.
What movie was that we just watched, Rhodesia, last week?
The Zombieland?
No, the horror movie with the dancer that she's the ballerina.
Abigail.
Oh,
Abigail.
Lord have mercy.
I didn't watch it. It's been on my my rotation though. I haven't watched it yet, though.
When you watch it, bring it to the. It was. I enjoyed it. It's one of them. You know, like your
We're
horror
wrestling
movies,
fans. I guess you could like it.
You got some of that bullshit that you just know, like, all
right,
that's gonna come.
It's a campy one. It's meant to be campy. Like it has some so it's not taking itself seriously. So it's one of them like movies. Yeah.
But I think they wanted to take itself seriously though, Matt.
No, it's a comedic thing. Yeah, they knew what they were doing.
Yeah,
they knew what they were doing.
I would be interested to see what you think. I liked it. I think I liked it more than Rhodesia liked it. But there's just certain parts in it where you're just like, all right, man, I get it, it's a scary movie, but all right. What are we doing?
Yeah, it's one of those where they kind of troll a little bit on the thing. But I'll tell you
or twirl.
I'll tell you the spot in that match where I was like, all right, I'm over this a little bit. It was a scissor spot. I'm like, man,
so you saw what I was talking about, right?
I'm like, this is stupid. Cause man, look, there's certain things when you're a wrestling fan, there's certain things you gotta take with a grain of salt and say, this is just the world of wrestling. This is just what it is. But like that moment, like that's like you can't, like, if a person did that in real life, like you know what I'm saying?
Joker.
Yeah, like it's you. That's a whole different level of I don't know, like of a fight, right? When you trying to cut this dude's like mouth open and you doing with the scissors, and like then I don't remember seeing any like I didn't see the blood. Where's the blood or something? Like it's that spot right there was too campy for me. That was like, so from that moment, to be honest with you, all right, now at this point, like I had it on, I was doing something else. I'm mainly doing something else while this is on, to be honest with you. I turn over, look at it, see what's going on to the next step. But after that spot, I just kind of was taken out of the match, because there's certain matches and certain things in some of these AEW, like those kind of spots where it just takes me out of the match until we're now, all right, I'm kind of over it. I'm just watching for the end.
The scissor part wasn't so bad for me. It was just if this is real life and this just happened to him, then he should be done for the rest of the match. And that wasn't the case. So I didn't mind the scissors part of it. It really wasn't no blood after it either, but it just seemed like he was able to continue to wrestle right away. Like that could have been one of the biggest moments. You're
needed.
The scissor guy. Well, that too.
Because
that
if
too.
you do that, that's a spot where you do it, and not even in a match. You do it, and that person's off for weeks selling it. You don't, like, you already hit him on top of the head with the scissors. That was a
couple times, right?
The first time, and then you go right back to it, and then the spot in the mouth. And I'm just like, all right, man.
And man, the thing was the build up was he's stabbing this man with some pointy ass scissors on the top of the head, and then he, like, man, you trying to kill this dude in this match, right? Right? You trying to kill this dude in this match. And I'm like, man, that's a bit much for me to kind of, you got what's the old saying we got to use? You got to suspend your disbelief. Like I couldn't suspend my disbelief anymore after that that moment and like it just took me completely out of the rest of the match to where I'm like, all right, man, this is just a little bit too hokey. It's a little bit too phony. I can't do with this anymore.
The thing about it, and it wasn't hokey. You're saying hokey because it was so dangerous. You knew that it wasn't possible for it to happen, but it wasn't. That wasn't a hokey spot. But that's the issue because now what do they have to do next year? Like you didn't get any mileage out of that,
right?
At all. So now what?
But like I said, like that dude, he ain't wrestling. He's taken out.
He should be like Joker.
He should have been done.
Like that dude should be
a handicap match at that point. It's a handicap match. He needs surgery, and he comes now. You gotta if you're going to do that, and that's where it's quality control. There's a lack of quality control at times, and I'll put the match over because what I've learned and I'm kind of newer for a while. To me, Hangman is AEW. When he is on screen, there is just something about him that he is he's him. Like, he is the biggest star that they have, and he's presented like that a lot of times. When him and Swerve went face-to-face, you could feel it. When they jumped Swerve and they hit him with the staple gun, and he damn near came back like an action movie and was shooting him like that. Incredible stuff.
It's funny you said that because I wrote down the hero's treatment. Yep. That's what they gave to Swerve.
Yep. But that's the way that happened. You can suspend your disbelief, but it was real hell because you could see the staples in them.
Yeah.
Right. But you can fight through that. You shouldn't be able to fight through just a spot with scissors in your mouth because you're right. It should be like Joker.
Yep, you be Joker.
Yep.
One thing I kind of was like, ooh, but then even on commentary, they even addressed it, which I said, okay, bravo to AEW, was Okada in the match. First off, his little cardboard Rainmaker street sign was crazy. Like, come on, you could either don't come with that or come with like hilarious. A metal one or come with a metal one. Don't come with a cardboard one. Okay, but whatever. I digress. And he's just not, it's not his style of match at all. This is just not Okada's style of match. And they even said it on commentary, like, this is not Okada's typical style of match. And I thought that was cool because I felt validated because as I'm watching Okada toward the beginning of the match, I'm like, he just seems awkward. And I'm not ready to have my conversation on what I want to say about Okada yet. But I was just like, I don't like that. And as soon as I said that, they said it on commentary. So I thought that was really good too.
Hey, you know what, Rhodesia? I think it's the perfect time to talk about Okada.
No, not yet. Just like Mercedes. I get what you're saying. I'm not there yet. She finally got some muscle. So now with Camille coming and being her muscle, I want to see how this plays out.
So how'd you guys like the debut of Camille?
She looks fantastic. She looks absolutely fantastic. I didn't think that was going to happen then. I don't know why it didn't. Actually, why would I really? Because I just know you said that Camille showed up, but it was unexpected. And when I saw her, I'm like, she looks fantastic. She looks like deadly. She gives me that Jamie Hayter, but even more serious. Like, I ain't taking shit kind of vibe. But her, what is that movie with Chris Tucker? Oh my God.
Rush Hour?
No.
Friday?
When
It's only two movies he was really in.
No, when he would play Fifth Element. She had on them Fifth Element shoes though. I'm like, she was jumping. I'm like, she about to break her ankle. I'm like, next time, Camille, you probably should be wearing those high boots like that. But I was like, okay, business picked up, at least for me and how I feel about Mercedes. Now she has this muscle that can do the work. So now she'd be even more irritating and more aggravating when she's on the mic.
Yeah, I'm a Camille fan. I remember this got to be years ago now. I was at an ROH taping. I'm not sure if it was here in Georgia or was I in Michigan. It had to be. If I wasn't, if
Georgia,
Matt,
right?
Yeah, if Matt wasn't with me, I had to have been in Georgia. So I remember texting Matt and I had sent him a photo of Camille. I didn't know who it was at the time. I was like, damn, who is this girl? She was with Nick Aldis at the time.
Yep.
I'm like, who is this? Like, why? I've never seen her before. Like, and then like Matt and I have seen pretty much most people. Or we've heard about most people. And I'm like, man, who is this? So I had to kind of do some research on it in that moment because she just has a presence. She has a look about her, and she looks really good. Yeah, I mean, we'll see.
Oh, so you are not. So are you more like out than in?
It didn't do anything for me in the moment. To be honest with you, when it happened, This is I don't know, but you know what I was actually. I mean, it's nice to see her though because I just thought about her. I'm like, damn, before she debuted. I was like, damn, she's been on the contract since February. Like, where is she? What is she? Where is she? What is she doing? And then here a week later, she appears with Monet. So
this is where we have to give Mercedes credit. Look at what she's done in the limited amount of time she's been there. In regard, she said she wanted to sign the AEW, of course, outside of the money, I'm sure, but to help, make the brand global, wrestle all around the world, and make women's wrestling as big as possible. Since then, she's already had the longest wrestling match on AEW history. I saw a stat that this was the most women segments and matches on the actual Blood and Guts show. They got over, I think, 20 or 25 minutes, which wasn't a thing before. Being with Camille, that's going to bring more eyeballs. And probably the reason why I got so excited too, is I saw Camille. I was like, okay, I like that they're putting Camille with Mercedes, which means she's going to be as big of a deal as she can be.
Mm-hmm.
All in, when Jamie Hayter's music hits, oh my goodness, man. When she comes to help out Britt and even those odds, Rhodesia, you know what to do. Exactly. And I think that is part of the Mercedes women's story, just nucleus thing that they're doing. So I'm here for it. I saw some people who felt like Camille should have been by herself. She's already being, somebody's second. I don't, whatever. Like if you're involved to me with Mercedes in any way,
right,
that means that they got plans for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I gotta be honest. Like I kind of feel like in a lot of ways, well, the AEW has a different fan base, and they're usually more educated on what's been going on.
Mm-hmm.
But this is her first experience in front of a major, audience, right? So I think it's good for her to be associated with probably the biggest female star in that business next to Tony
Hell
Storm.
Yeah.
Well, not in that business, I mean in that company.
In the company. Yep. You let Mercedes do the heavy lifting outside of doing the legit heavy lifting, right? She's her heater, so she's gonna be picking people up and throwing them around, but you let Mercedes set the table for her, and it's just gonna get her feet wet.
Yeah. And we saw it with Dr. Britt and Jamie Hayter.
Yeah.
So I think that's gonna be great. I do want to mention two people that I thought was cute. Bane here. I thought Brandon looked really good. He looked like I didn't realize it was Brandon. I was like, who's this coming out here? I'm like, he looks kind of cute. Brandon got a new swag going on. And I know you said something on Twitter on her earlier this week, but man, is she not like the sexiest, but like not trying to be sexiest wrestler there is? But Chris Statlander,
Thick Statlander.
she is fine. Like she has this little sexy swagger about her, but she's still kind of like tomboyish about it. It's just her swag is just really on point. I'm ready to see what her and Willow gonna do too.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder why Stokely didn't advocate for. I wonder why Stokely didn't advocate for a singles match with her.
I mean, he did, didn't he?
No, she's Statlander's going to be in that little gauntlet match to determine like the championship contender.
Probably just to spend more TV time until they get to the one-on-one match at All In with them two, or All Out.
Yeah, I can see that being All Out.
Yep, one of the two. So overall, 2 thumbs up.
I'm gonna give it a 2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs down for the show as a whole. You see, that's why I said how it was newsworthy. So I didn't want to give out any spoilers, but I'm like, if this is coming out, the next day after, I wanted to just touch on it. But overall, you guys felt like it was a good show?
Considering my Blood and Guts was like a 3-hour show between me watching Battle of the Belts and Blood and Guts, I felt like the show went by really fast, and I was like, oh wow, okay, it's over. Oh, cool. This was good. So yep, 2 thumbs up.
Yeah, I'll give it 2 thumbs up.
You Matt?
Begrudging. Oh, of course. Yeah. As much as even the issues that I have, and once again, my issues are only because I feel like we can just get more. We can squeeze more out of the lemon, besides just half squeezing it, third squeezing it, and then just pitching it to the side. Just get more out of it. What else y'all got? I know y'all had a couple other topics y'all wanted to talk about. What you got?
Well, we pushed it back to this show, but I want to talk to you guys about finishers because I saw a snippet of a podcast that Undertaker did on a show. I can't think of at the moment who was the interviewer, what show it was on, but he had just mentioned about the finishers aren't protected anymore. And he made it a point to protect his finish. He said he'll let people, kind of kick out of and his signatures or, do like some different things with his signature moves. But he said he protected his finishers. He said that's not common in the business anymore. And so then I thought about like the Dudley Boys in the 3D, and Bubba Ray said on numerous occasions that they protected that finish. And you see Baron Corbin, protecting his finish. So I thought about like, damn, what are some of my favorite finishers of all time? And I'm just gonna set the stage real quick. Y'all know my favorite finish.
Super kick.
Ever. No, baby, not a super kick. Sweet
chin
sweet chin music.
Sweet chin music. That's what I started doing in my mind. Like, when they're starting to bastardize, like the super kick right now, I'm like, you know what? They're doing that to the super kick. Like, no one's throwing the sweet chin music. That was a whole different thing. So for me, my favorite finisher of all times is the super kick, sweet chin music. You guys know that. So I was interested. What were yours? What's your favorite?
You got any
finishers?
more that's really high on your list?
So another one is the perfect plex.
Okay.
And I feel like that's a move that you don't see very often anymore. You see it from time to time, but I felt like the perfect plex was another one to where when Mr. Perfect hit that perfect plex, that was a 3. Like, I think we've only seen a couple of kickouts from perfect plex, but that's another one I felt like was a really great move. Another one I got, which I just love, is Baron Corbin in the days. I just mentioned it earlier. One of his new finishes. I think it looks really, really good. And I don't think there's been a person to date. I might be wrong. It might be one person that's kicked out at the end of the days. But it's like when you see the finish, not only does it look good, it comes out of nowhere. That's going to end the match. So one day when somebody kicks out of that finish, it's going to mean something.
It'll be Apollo Crews. The way this is going, jeez, they got to hurry up and do something with this.
Oh Lord!
And and Baron's my guy, but come on, man. Remember he hit Becky with that? Ooh, boy, that was fantastic. Yeah. Laid her ass out
all the way out.
All the way out.
AE, you got to do your worst finishers too.
So I'm just gonna give them to you just one right now. I got a couple, but I'm just gonna leave it there. I think John Cena's.
I knew I had a feeling. And it's funny because Tommy Dreamer said that is one of the most painful finishers you can take. Like
no way.
Driver. He said it feels like your entire body and everything just goes up, and when it comes down, like he's like it's one of the worst finishes or one of the worst moves you can take. I wonder
because his AA because so the attitude adjuster. The AA it morphed into something different than the Death Valley Driver to me. Like, right? Because the Death Valley Driver, he had on his shoulder and he kind of came down, kind of their head and dumped
right.
Them. Like, right? To where John Cena's kind of morphed into him just putting them on the shoulders and then him just tossing them over the top. Right? So it didn't have like the same emphasis. And I don't think it started that way. I think it morphed into that over time. And maybe that was John trying to take care of the guys because I just felt like that move just looks bad. It just looks horrible. Another one, his finish, right? Maybe not finish his signature moves. I think, Rhodesia, you want to talk about that? The 5-knuckle shuffle. I think that looks horrible.
Oh, man.
It ain't no different than the people's elbow. So I hope people's elbow is one of your signature worst ones too. Then
here's the thing about you talking about the actual move and what it is. The people's elbow, like it's just an elbow, like right. But the way Rock does it, it looks swift, like it looks smooth, right? It looks good. Ain't nothing smooth or swift about when John does with that 5-knuckle shuffle. Man, that shit looks uncoordinated.
That's on his shoulder. You can't.
That's the only thing he does well. Everything like the movement, the knuckle, everything about the move.
What did John Cena do to you? Why do you hate Cena?
I think Katrina is in love with him. I think so. I think that's what it was.
But see,
because me and Katrina love some John Cena.
You see, I'm gonna continue on. And let me tell you his worst finish. His worst finish. What was it? STF.
Who was it? Was it Orton? He passed out legit. I think it was, and ever since then, he now is like the softest move. He won't put it on people.
When you see him doing the move, you look at the pictures.
Man.
You could see him just holding the head. Like every time.
No pause. No, remember, E's a no pause, guys. So let's go. Let's go.
We gonna move past that. But you like it's so much.
E has never been this animated on the podcast in 154 episodes.
It's so much
the hate he has in his heart for John Cena. If you put the hate that Rhodesia has for CM Punk, for who else?
Everybody, anybody is popular.
Cody Rhodes.
Anybody is popular.
That together. Because right now he's on fire. Now I know what
his whole repertoire. John Cena. He's about to call his question.
If you are not watching the video, E is standing up potting right now. That is how excited.
Listen.
Look.
The whole 5 moves of doom are the worst maneuvers I've ever seen. He doesn't do any of them good. I can't believe it. And then I had to sit through years of him main eventing.
There we go.
Weak ass looking moves.
There we go.
And then y'all wanna
like Katrina's Googling.
We gotta stop. We gotta stop the podcast to talk about this man who does the 5 worst moves of all of wrestling back to back.
Hate her.
Back to back. And I gotta sit up until 1 o'clock in the morning to listen to y'all boo-hooing about John Cena's 5 awful moves of doom, and then we gotta sit there and talk an hour about the worst pay-per-view in the whole world. Then they get mad at me because I'm pissed off that I gotta stay up to 1 o'clock to talk about this horrible pay-per-view and listen to y'all talk about these 5 moves.
But that's
of
our
doom.
job. That's what we're supposed to do.
No, we don't.
Yes, we don't. We're supposed to pod. We're supposed to pod after the show.
So what y'all need to do is be a good friend. But you know what? He got a rough night. All right. The pay-per-view sucks. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. He don't want to talk about John Cena right now. Like, no. We gonna talk about John Cena. He's horrible movie. He is the worst. But you know what? He's a great actor though. We did watch one of his movies the other night with the kids. And he does a really good job acting.
You remember which one it was?
I don't remember, but here's the most of his stuff. The Peacemaker. John Cena's a really great actor. He's a really great personality, great promo guy, but his moves are the worst. All of them. Think of one, I'll hate that too.
He turned this entire segment into a John Cena hating bitch fest. You know what's fantastic about this whole thing? Fans of the pod. We have another year with John Cena.
Hell yeah, baby.
John Cena wins the Royal Rumble.
Elimination Chamber
by Eshaun.
Elimination Chamber.
John Cena defeats everybody in Elimination Chamber for no reason. You know he's already got his guaranteed title shot. Eshaun commentator.
He's gonna go against Cody.
WrestleMania night 1 and night 2 main event. John Cena wins. Eshaun commentary. We going every single month with that type of promo from Eshaun. I appreciate that, man. That was some of the best shit I've heard in a long time, maybe ever out of you. I appreciate you. Do I even have to give mine? I'm not even gonna give mine. I can't top that. I can't top that at all. God bless, man. But so I will give you my favorite finisher is probably Powerbomb, and that just goes from like Sid, like the actual Powerbomb move. But the majority of finishers really aren't the best. A lot of the finishers they don't hurt because they can't, like you do it so often, you got to be able to do it to everybody.
Right.
So I mean, if we like look up and down, we look at the tops people's feel like think about the stunner done properly. You're good.
But not done properly.
Oh my God.
Terrible.
Yeah, you're in trouble.
Yep.
There's so many of them, like the rock bottom. That's not a great move, but he hits it. It's on. And it's just, we can just go down like the pedigree was good. Pedigree was a really good one. The 5-star frog splash or splashes, those are good ones, but a lot of them are kind of it's about the person who's doing them. But I like the power bomb. I like the F5 for sure. I like Kurt Angle's ankle lock, and I say Kurt Angle's because he had the whole thing with the stripe, the straps. He had the whole thing when he sat down, and when he sat down on it, he knew it was over. Like he had levels to who could get out of it when you get to the ropes, and then when it's done for. Once again, it's like storytelling in that. I don't know if I like worst. That's funny, man. Worst. Great Khali's chop.
The brain chop.
Yep.
But his whole everything he did was bad too, though.
Yeah. but they sold it like it was.
Well, because he's a giant. You would sell it too.
Speaking of giants, you see, looks like our guy Omos is about to get released, or I hated the headline I saw, which y'all got to do better with the headlines. The headline was WWE gives up on Omos. I don't like that headline. I think that headline is nasty. Even if that was a quote from somebody there, like in my opinion, you don't put that as the headline. But it looks like they're saying like, hey, we tried, we can't figure out what to do with them or how to use them. So we may not be seeing Omos on WWE TV going forward.
Well, good luck in his future endeavors, right?
Yep. Still the biggest person I've ever seen in person, and when I saw him, I laughed. That's never happened to me before.
Hey, he might be part of the new Hurt Business.
I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't. Like when you are like that, treat him like old school Diesel. Diesel didn't wrestle before him and Sean broke up. Have him as strictly just the heat. He's the heater. That's it. You can get away with doing that, especially somebody who's that big in the land of small people in AEW. Yeah, buddy, you could do that. Rhodesia, what's your favorite and most non-favorite finishers?
I like you said most non-favorite. So for my favorite, I have a man and a woman, and I don't talk about them often, just because I think you actually validated my thinking of why don't I talk about them often, because they're kind of just not even as special. Sometimes the signature moves are actually more important than the actual finishers. But for men's, I'm gonna go with the Kenta's go to sleep, GTS. That is nasty. When the little bit of time I've watched Kenta in NXT, when he hit it was crazy.
Hideo
Itami. And the women's was a toss up because they're both the ones that I'm questioning. They both are submissions. And I'm not a submission girl at all. I can't stand it. So the one that came in as like 1B would be either a Ronda or an Asuka like arm lock, not Becky's, particularly not Becky's. I do not like her arm breaker. Disarmor, yeah, no, because it was something with an intensity with Asuka, and then of course Ronda Rousey, she's an MMA fighter. But then I'm gonna go with AJ Lee's Black Widow. I remember when I first saw her put those moves on when she was on our TV, and she would just do it like so effortlessly, like in a blink of a second.
Yeah,
she hits you with the move and you're done. I think probably maybe Paige might have been the only one who ever got out of it in WWE, but I absolutely love that as a finisher. For my honorable mentions, though, I have for men, I have RKO. That move is just incredible. It's special. It's special.
Like I don't know how I forgot about that one.
Yeah, it's special. Yeah. I love the RKO.
Hey, real quick. The Diamond Cutter or the RKO?
For me, RKO, because of course I wasn't watching Diamond Dallas Page.
We only talking moves, right? Not like who's doing them, not anything around. We only talking about
why he did RKO.
we only talking about the actual finish, right?
Yeah, just the finish.
Diamond Cutter, because Diamond Cutter actually looked like it hurt. Like and it wasn't just a flat bump with somebody putting their arm. Like it was, he came down with you. Like with Orton does it, you go with him. So it's just it's just a flat stomach bump. DDP, he grabbed you and he brought you down with him in that same.
There was variations. Yeah. There was a variation. You started seeing over the years. You started seeing RK do it. I mean, Randy do it. From different things, right? But like it seemed like the Diamond Cutter always came from out of nowhere.
Yeah,
like right. He'll put him on the top rope, and all of a sudden he's doing the Diamond Cutter off the top rope, right? Or he's putting the wrestler in different positions that you wouldn't think the Diamond Cutter would come from. And he's doing a Diamond Cutter from there. Like with Randy, it was always kind of a similar setup, right? Like he never, that's what I liked about the Diamond Cutter. And I felt like Randy could have stole a lot of that from DDP, and he kind of didn't. But yeah, Randy's RKO definitely. That's like, and the wrestlers are trying to do their best job to try to minimize that move too, right? Because like you watch both shows, you see them doing RKOs and Diamond Cutters all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Still incredible. That man started wrestling at the age of 35. Started wrestling at the age of 35. Yeah. It's like I say it a lot, man, but do not give up on your dreams out there. If you are passionate about something, age is nothing but a number. Because he was on top in WCW in his mid to late 40s.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's so That's a testament.
And to give him his flowers, all the people that he has touched in their lives to make them better. Just the Jake the Snake, stands out in my mind the most. But what he's doing in his life, he is making an impact and a difference in people's lives. So
that's his purpose, right? Like you think about, like, he only got the wrestling was only the piece to get to what his true purpose was and is. That's, you just never know, man. Like,
who's he helping right now?
As you can.
He helped somebody recently get back in the shape.
Yeah, who was it?
I thought it was a woman.
No,
it was a woman. Right? I thought
Britt Baker.
Yeah,
Britt Baker.
Yep.
Helped her. You can see how good a shape she's in right now.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
For women, this is so premature, and who knows the longevity of this person. But this is something to look out for, a finisher, and it's the Soul Ruka Soul Snatcher.
Oh yeah.
It's like a springboard backflip cutter. Talking about cutters, like that is sick. And then she just did it recently, like off of a ladder. Like that is going to be something. If she can continue to do that, that's going to be an amazing finisher.
The fun part about that finish is her coming up with incredible ways to hit it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That is going to be what we remember Soul Ruka by. Mm-hmm. And it's think about the video packages and all that of like how she decides and hits that move. And you got to do it in a way where you don't make your opponent just look absolutely stupid either. They can't just stand there in a ridiculous spot to get hit. And they've done a really good job of doing that in NXT. Granted, they got time to really, rehearse that down there where when she gets to the main roster, you got house shows you can work with that on, but you're not going to have as much time just in the ring in one stationary spot. But yeah, that's a fantastic one. You did a nice job with with those this time, lady.
Thank you. You can call me sweetie.
All right, sweetie.
My worst, and then I'm up the ante on y'all. The worst is the Tama Tonga WWE finisher. Don't even know what it's called, what it is. That is trash. Garbage. That is my worst.
Finisher is the botch.
Wait, we're not talking about the fisting. We're not talking about that one.
I mean, that's what I saw.
You talking about Tonga Loa. You talking about Tonga Loa, though.
Oh, no. Yeah, the fisting is Tonga Loa. I'm talking about Tama Tonga's.
Oh, I was talking about Tonga Loa, my bad. But I was talking about getting mileage out of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tonga Loa showed up to SmackDown with an eye patch.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
He didn't show up looking perfectly fine and not selling his eye. He's selling his eye. Gotta sell, man.
So I do. I wanted this to be a little bit up the ante on it. And so that's why E had mentioned about finishers or signature moves.
Mm-hmm.
As we were talking about finishers, I'm like, oh, I love that as a finisher. And I'm like, wait, no, that's not even a finisher. That's a signature move. So either one of you can start kind of just best, worst, men, women. What are some of your favorite and not favorite signature moves?
Eve, you got something, you can go. I have to think on that.
I had something in mind when you originally had mentioned it, but then now we're talking on the pod. Actually, they slipped my mind.
I know you're worse.
But I do all of John Cena's anything.
Anything John Cena.
But I do got these are still finishers, but like I had it as an honorary though. The figure four is one of the worst, like Ric Flair's version. He's never beats it with anybody. And I think the figure four overall is just a horrible looking move. I don't understand how it can hurt somebody. I feel like it hurts
the person. Yeah, the person doing it more.
Like I don't get it. I mean, I get kind of like when you're on top, you use your arm. You kind of it feel like you feel like it hurts the ankle, right? But I feel like it's a lot of setup just to pull your leg down somebody's ankle. I don't know. I feel like you can just do the ankle lock or something. But another runner up for me on finisher is like the Eclipse.
Athena.
Yeah.
Yes.
Athena.
Wow. Ember Moon.
Yeah, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? And like you don't see anybody else. I don't see anybody else doing the Eclipse, but Athena too, right? And I wonder because I like when she does it, she's coming off the top rope and landing straight on her butt.
Oh, that was a good one. Yeah.
Like, I would imagine that would and she's been doing that for years, right? So I guess her body's built up to take that, But man, that's a hell of a finish. I think looks really good. But as far as I had a signature that I thought was really Sami Zayn's Blue Thunder Bomb. We talked about it before.
You know what?
Okay.
That one, and also thank you for saying that. You talked about Corbin's move. No, Corbin's deep six.
Deep Six
is to me when he hits that. To me, that's one of the best moves in wrestling.
Yep. Deep Six.
Yes.
Blue Thunder Bomb. Yeah, because like those, because I don't think he's like Sami Zayn's ever beaten anybody with the Blue Thunder Bomb. Like, right?
I remember seeing it only once.
But like, but when he hits it, you legitimately want to count along, you think it might be it. Like,
Same
almost
thing
every time.
With Seth. Same thing with Seth's suplex to the Falcon Arrow.
Yeah,
off the rope, which I still don't understand how that's not a finish. Like, that move is amazing. He don't beat nobody with it, but that's also an incredible special.
Yeah, Deep Six. Yep.
But that Deep Six is good, really good. Yeah,
I think bad ones are if you are not at least 230 pounds, leave the spear alone. That's one of the worst special moves. A spear from a smaller person.
Like Edge.
And they don't even. Oh, that used to piss me off so much. Like, we went. Yeah, I hated it. Absolutely hated it. But now Jay's doing it.
But Jay's under that weight.
I'm not really sure. I don't know if he is or not.
You said under 230?
Yeah.
I'm gonna put Jay at 220.
Oh, Jay, yeah, definitely. Oh, like, he might be 230. He a thick dude, but
he eating the scale. See, every single episode, he's gonna make sure he gets them entendres in there. He's a thick dude. God bless E. Rhodesia, take us home, please. You give us your stuff and then tell people where they can find us.
I don't know. Okay. Wonderful. So for signature moves, I would say my best. I only did 1 and 1. My favorite. I remember the first time I saw it, I was like, how is this even allowed? How is this not a finisher? Like, how is a person still alive? How is this not banned? But Kenny Omega's V-trigger is my favorite signature move. One. That was just like, my soul hurts every time I see him execute it. Since he's been on AEW, he's lighting up on it. But them New Japan days when he was hitting it, it was like, oh my God, especially the one with Ibushi, the matches with him and Ibushi. Come on.
He had successful surgery too, so shout out to that. They said it was like really, 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 really bad. His injury. This is the second surgery he's had, or third surgery. So they were hoping for him and Okada at All In. That fell through, of course, because of the injury. So hopefully he comes back soon, but he just needs to get healthy, man. He's been in pain for years.
Yep.
So to your point, Rhodesia, about because you made a comment about the V-trigger, like he's lightened up since being AEW. I think he had to.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And then my worst, I guess this is fitting, right? The worst comes from my favorite wrestler of all times. The Old School. What? That's a suspension of disbelief. That is supposed to be the leading up move to take me out. And I get the tombstone I get it. The tombstone wasn't my favorite, but I can see why somebody would put the tombstone as their number one. But the Old School, miss me with all that. And with that, I guess I'm gonna send us home. So you know where to follow us on Twitter at That's FNW, on YouTube That's Freakin Wrestling, and you can find us tomorrow, Monday. It's not your tomorrow, it's Monday, and Thursday, wherever you get your potting stuff at, whether it's streaming, however you do it. I can't do it as good as Matt, but listen, the freaks we love and we appreciate you.
We love the freaks.
You know, we do this, and we do this from our heart because y'all engage with us too. And it's fun. We get to do this together as friends. All right. And shout out to my mama. My mama listens to every single episode. And
shout out to mama.
She don't know how she get it. Sometimes she said, sometimes I see you on my phone. Sometimes I only hear you on my phone. So I don't understand how that plays out. But shout out to her too. But overall,
I got to stop cussing then. I ain't know your mama listen to the phone.
No, I be talking about sex, and I'm like, ugh. I've been waiting for her to say, Rhodesia, don't say that again.
But where do you think you get it from? I told you your mom was a freak.
Okay. On that note, whoever is the producer in the show, thank y'all for listening. Again, that's FNW on Twitter, and that's Freakin Wrestling on YouTube. Thank you.
Big time
Love you.
Freak.